I had no reason to stop on that bridge. The road was empty, the night quiet, and the only light came from my headlights cutting through the dark. But my phone buzzed, and the call made me pull over without thinking. It was close to midnight. I rolled down the window, letting in the cool air, and answered. Nobody spoke, just a faint crackle like static. I hung up, annoyed, and sat there for a moment staring at the black water below. That's when I heard it, a laugh, high-pitched, soft, and out of place. It wasn't the laugh of an adult. It was a child's laugh, carried out from under the bridge. My first thought was impossible. There couldn't be anyone down there. The drop was steep, and all that waited below was the slow current of the river. No houses, no docks, no boats, nothing but water and stone. The laugh came again, clearer this time. I leaned out of the window, straining to hear. The sound echoed, bouncing against the underside of the bridge. A chill spread across my arms, though the air was warm. Then the laugh faded, replaced by something worse. A whisper. It spoke my name. At first I thought I imagined it, but it came again, low and deliberate, rising with the mist from the river. My name, stretched thin, spoken like someone was right below me, waiting. I swallowed hard, heart-thudding. Against my better judgment, I stepped out of the car. Gravel crunched under my boots as I walked to the edge of the bridge. The guardrail felt cold under my hands. I leaned over. The water was still black, with only a pale smear of moonlight breaking its surface, and in that pale strip I saw my reflection. But it wasn't right. My face looked back at me, but the mouth curled into a grin I wasn't making. The lips pulled wide, teeth flashing in the moonlight. My reflection raised a hand and waved. I stumbled back, nearly tripping on the rough pavement. My breath came fast, shallow. I blinked, convinced it was a trick of the light. But when I looked again, the reflection hadn't gone. It kept smiling. Its hand lingered in the air, fingers twitching. Then the whisper came once more, from the water itself. Louder this time, sharper. My name repeated in a rhythm, as if urging me closer. I gripped the rail tighter, torn between running back to the car and leaning forward to see if I was losing my mind. And then the reflection moved again. Not a wave this time. Its arm shot upward. The hand broke the surface of the water. Cold, wet fingers closed around my throat. The grip tightened, impossibly strong. I clawed at the hand, nails digging into my own skin, but it didn't matter. The reflection wasn't a reflection anymore. It was alive, dragging me down. My chest heaved. The world spun. I could hear my pulse hammering in my ears, louder than the whisper that still hissed my name. My vision blurred as the hand pulled harder, stretching my body toward the water, though I was still on the bridge. The rail bit into my stomach. My feet slipped on the gravel. My body tilted forward until half of me hung over the edge. I gasped, trying to scream, but the hand crushed my throat so tightly only a dry rasp came out. The water rippled. My reflection stared back at me with wild, shining eyes. Its grin grew wider, splitting unnaturally across its face. It pulled again, and I felt the guardrail cut into my ribs. Panic surged through me. I swung an arm down and struck the wet hand. For a moment, it loosened. The grip faltered, and I staggered back, coughing. My throat burned, raw. I stumbled against my car, choking for air. The river went still again. My reflection floated on the surface, smiling as if nothing had happened. It didn't move, but the whisper came again. Closer, inside my head. I slammed the car door and fumbled with the ignition. My hands shook so violently the keys slipped twice before I managed to start the engine. The headlights washed across the bridge, blindingly bright for a second. When the car roared to life, I risked one last look into the mirror. My reflection was in the rear view, not smiling this time, staring. Its lips moved, but I couldn't hear. my own face, but pale, wet, and lifeless, as if it had drowned years ago. I pressed the accelerator. The car shot forward. Gravel sprayed behind me as I tore off the bridge and into the empty stretch of highway. But even as the miles passed, the whisper followed. Quiet, crawling through the speakers, through the vents, through the air itself. My name, again and again. And when I glanced into the mirror one more time, my reflection didn't blink. It only raised its hand slowly, palm open, waiting for the moment I would stop again. I had been on the road for hours when I reached the bridge. The clock on the dashboard showed 11:47 p.m. The highway was empty, the night heavy with silence. My headlights cut through the darkness, catching only the steel beams of the bridge ahead and the endless black water beneath. As soon as I drove onto the bridge, I felt it. That strange pressure in the air, like the atmosphere had thickened. I kept my hands tight on the wheel, eyes locked forward. Then I saw them. 2 distant lights in the rearview mirror. Headlights. At first they looked harmless, another driver heading the same way. But the glow grew stronger, brighter, and I realized they were climbing up fast. A truck. The low rumble reached my ears before the sound became clear. The engine was massive, deeper than anything I had heard all night. Then came the horn, long, sharp, echoing across the water. My stomach tightened. I pressed the gas. The tires hummed louder on the metal surface of the bridge. My car picked up speed, but the truck's lights only swelled closer. The horn blasted again, shaking me in my seat. I told myself not to panic. It had to be some impatient driver, maybe drunk, maybe just reckless. But the bridge stretched on in front of me, no exits, no shoulder to pull over. Just me, a thin line of road, and the massive vehicle pressing closer. The truck surged forward. Its headlights filled my mirror, so bright I could barely see. The horn roared, longer this time, vibrating through my bones. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my hands ached. The speedometer needle climbed past 70. The engine whined, straining. The truck stayed right on me. My heart hammered against my ribs, sweat collecting on my temples. Another blast of the horn. This time it sounded furious, almost angry. I glanced at the rearview mirror for just a second and saw more than lights. I saw the outline of a huge front grille towering over my car. It looked like it was close enough to ram me straight off the bridge. I pushed the pedal to the floor, 80 now. The bridge seemed endless, no sign of the far side. My chest burned with every breath. I could almost feel the truck's heat behind me, its size swallowing me whole. Then, just as I reached the last stretch of the bridge, the horn cut off. The headlights blinked out. Darkness filled the mirror. I whipped my head around. Nothing. The road behind me was empty, the bridge silent except for my tires and my shaking breath. The truck had vanished. My car slowed, coasting onto the other side of the bridge. Relief washed over me, but only for a moment. Then I felt it. A pull, a heaviness dragging at the back of the car, as if something was still pushing me forward. When I stopped and stepped out, the cool air hit my face. I circled to the rear bumper with my phone light. That's when I saw them. 2 handprints. Massive, dark, pressed into the metal, like someone had slammed their palms against it. The shape was too large, the fingers stretched unnaturally wide. They weren't smudges of dirt. They were indentations, carved deep, as if invisible hands had been pushing me the entire way across. I staggered back, my throat dry. The road behind me was empty, but I couldn't shake the image of those prints. Something had been there, something stronger than any machine. I stood there frozen, my phone light trembling in my hand. The prints were impossible to explain. They were too big, too deep, too deliberate. My first thought was to call someone, but who would believe me? That a truck chased me across a bridge, and then vanished? that unseen hands had shoved my car forward. The silence around me pressed in. Not a single other vehicle passed. The river below whispered against the beams, but the air itself felt still. I forced myself back into the driver's seat and locked the doors. My hands shook on the wheel. The engine idled. I stared at the reflection of my own face in the rearview mirror. Every shadow in the car looked darker than before. I didn't want to move, but I knew I couldn't just sit there. I drove, slow at first, half expecting the roar of an engine to return behind me. Nothing came. The road ahead was empty, lined with trees that bent under the weight of night. 10 minutes passed, then 20. I began to think maybe it had been some kind of hallucination, a trick of exhaustion. I tried to convince myself those handprints could be something else, maybe damage I hadn't noticed before. But when I reached the next gas station, under the buzzing fluorescent lights, I checked again. The marks were still there. 2 massive hands pressed deep into the bumper. I went inside, needing to be around people, even strangers. The cashier, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, barely glanced up as I grabbed a bottle of water. But when I paid and stepped out, he stopped me. "Car outside," he said. His voice was slow, like he'd seen something he didn't want to talk about. "Those marks, you crossed the river tonight?" I froze. "Yeah." "Why?" He hesitated, then leaned closer. "You ain't the first. Truck Spanish on that bridge. Folks see lights, hear horns, and always the hands. Some say it's the people who died in the river years back when a rig went over. Whole family behind it, gone with the current. They say those souls push drivers across, keeping them from joining them down there." I wanted to laugh, but my throat tightened. "That doesn't make sense. That thing was chasing me. It wasn't saving me." He shook his head. "Not every spirit wants peace. Some don't know what they're doing, but the marks, they're always the same." I left without another word. My stomach churned as I started the car. The handprints seemed to glare at me in the station's lights. I couldn't stay there. The rest of the drive was a blur. Every distant light in the mirror made my pulse spike. Every shadow on the road looked like something waiting. By the time I pulled into my driveway, dawn was breaking. The sky glowed faintly, and for the first time all night I felt like I could breathe again. But when I stepped out, I couldn't ignore it. The handprints were still there, clear as before, as if stamped into the metal for good. They weren't going anywhere. That night on the bridge hasn't left me. I don't drive that route anymore. I don't cross the river after dark. And every time I glance at the back of my car, I see those giant hands. Not fading, not rusting, just waiting. I never believed in ghost stories. People always exaggerated, especially online. But that night on the old river bridge changed everything I thought I knew about reality. It started with a simple plan. My friends and I wanted to shoot a video for fun, something we could post later. The bridge was a perfect spot, remote, quiet, and with just enough history to make it feel eerie on camera. There were 5 of us. Eric, always the one with ideas. Mark, the one who laughed at everything. Lisa, who carried a flashlight the size of a baseball bat. Jordan, quiet but sharp, always filming. And me. We drove out late in the evening. The sky was already dark, the kind of black that swallows every detail. When we stepped onto the bridge, the wooden planks creaked under our shoes. The water below moved slow, but the sound echoed in a way that made you think it was much closer. At first, everything felt normal. Eric started recording on his phone, walking backward and making jokes for the camera. Mark whistled, his voice bouncing against the metal railings. Lisa kept swinging her flashlight back and forth, annoyed that the bridge had no working lights. Then Lisa froze. Her beam landed on something at the far side of the bridge. A figure, a girl standing by the railing, her body leaning too far forward, almost dangling over the edge. "Hey," Eric called, his phone raised. "You okay?" The girl didn't move. We started walking toward her. The closer we got, the more unnatural it felt. Her arms hung stiff, her head tilted to one side, hair covering most of her face. The way her body swayed looked wrong, like she was suspended rather than standing. Mark stopped laughing. Is she hanging? The thought hit all of us at the same time. The angle of her neck, the way her toes didn't quite touch the wood. Lisa gasped. Oh my God. We rushed forward, but just as we closed the distance, the figure vanished. Gone. 1 second she was there, the next we were staring at empty railing and dark water. No splash, no sound, nothing. Eric swore under his breath and spun his phone around to show us the recording. Only there was nothing on it. Not just the girl, but the last 10 minutes we had filmed were gone. He scrolled through his gallery, his face getting paler with each swipe. Everything's gone, he muttered. All of it, like I never recorded. We all checked our phones. Every video and photo from the bridge had been wiped clean. Even random pictures from days earlier were missing. None of us could explain it. We argued for a while, trying to convince ourselves it was some glitch, some weird technical issue. But deep down, I think all of us already knew it was something else. Something we weren't supposed to see. That night, I barely slept. When I finally drifted off, I dreamed of her. The same girl, standing at the railing, her head hanging low. Only this time, she turned toward me. Her face was pale, her eyes empty, and when her lips moved, I felt the sound more than heard it. A whisper pressed directly into my skull. Come back. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. My phone screen lit up on the nightstand even though I hadn't touched it. The camera was open, recording my face in the dark. The next morning we met again. None of us had slept well. Lisa's eyes were red, like she had been crying. Mark admitted he had the same dream. Jordan didn't say much, but his silence told us enough. Eric tried to laugh it off, but his hands shook when he held his coffee. We all swore to each other not to go back to the bridge. Not after what we saw, not after the dreams, but promises like that don't hold. Because the next day, Jordan didn't show up. We waited for him at the cafe where we always met. He never came. His phone went straight to voicemail. By evening, Eric drove us back to the bridge. He didn't say why. None of us asked. Maybe we already knew. The air was colder this time. The water sounded louder, like it was rushing faster. We walked across the planks calling Jordan's name. Halfway across, Lisa spotted it. A phone lying on the railing. Screen glowing. Camera recording. It was Jordan's. The image on the screen was shaky, pointing down at the water. Then, for just a second, the girl's pale face appeared in the frame, inches from the lens. And then the video ended. Lisa screamed when she saw Jordan's phone. Mark snatched it off the railing and nearly dropped it when the recording looped back to the frozen frame of her face. The image burned into my eyes. Pale, lifeless, staring straight into us. We called Jordan's name again, louder this time. Nothing answered. Just the low moan of wind cutting across the bridge and the deep churn of water below. Eric checked the phone. Every video, every picture, gone. Except the one we had just seen. That final clip was all that remained. We spread out across the bridge, searching for signs of him. Lisa's flashlight caught something on the wood near the far end. Scratches. Deep, jagged lines dug into the planks, as if someone had been dragged, heels scraping hard before vanishing at the railing. Mark shook his head. No, he wouldn't jump. Eric snapped. Then where is he? No one had an answer. We stayed too long. Every minute on that bridge felt heavier. My skin prickled, like we were being watched from both sides, above and below. When we finally turned to leave, Lisa stopped. Her flashlight beam caught movement at the center of the bridge. The girl stood there, closer than before. Her hair clung to her face, wet as if she had just climbed out of the river. Water dripped onto the planks beneath her. Her head twitched, snapping side to side until it fixed on us. Mark froze, whispering, "Don't move." But Eric, always the one to challenge fear, raised his voice. "Where's Jordan? What do you want from us?" Her lips parted. For the first time we heard sound, a low rasp, like air forcing its way through broken glass. "You." The word made my blood run cold. We ran. The bridge groaned under our feet, each step echoing like a drumbeat. I didn't dare look back, but I heard it. Bare, wet footsteps following us, never rushing, just steady. When we reached the car, Eric fumbled with the keys. The sound of footsteps stopped. I glanced back. She was gone. But when I slid into the back seat, my phone vibrated. A new video had appeared in my gallery. I hadn't taken it. It showed Jordan standing on the bridge, looking right into the camera. His lips moved, but the audio was broken, glitching. Only fragments came through. "Don't leave." With her, the clip ended abruptly. We drove off in silence. None of us spoke until we reached town. We made a pact to keep quiet, to tell no one. We thought maybe distance would protect us. It didn't. That night, the dreams came back, stronger. This time, I wasn't standing on the bridge. I was underwater. The river pressed against my chest, crushing, pulling me deeper. When I opened my eyes, the girl was there, her face inches from mine, hair floating like seaweed. Her hands clamped around my wrists. She whispered again, the words filling my lungs instead of air. "You will follow." I woke choking, coughing up water that wasn't really there. My sheets were soaked, not with sweat, with the smell of river water. Lisa texted me minutes later. Just 2 words. "She's here." I rushed to her house, but when I arrived, the front door was wide open. Her flashlight lay in the hallway, still on. Her phone buzzed on the table, screen cracked, camera running. The footage showed only the open doorway, darkness beyond. Lisa was gone. By morning, Mark vanished too. His phone was found on his porch, camera frozen on static. Eric and I were the last ones left. We met in his garage, desperate, exhausted, trying to figure out what to do. He said the only answer was to go back, end it where it started. I wanted to fight him, tell him we should run, but I couldn't. Deep down, I felt it too. Running wasn't an option. That evening we returned to the bridge, just the 2 of us. The air felt heavier than before, like the entire sky pressed down. The wood creaked under our weight. We walked slowly, every step measured. At the center of the bridge, Eric stopped. He pulled out his phone, turned the camera on, and shouted into the dark. "Take me, not him. You hear me? Leave us alone." The silence that followed felt endless. Then behind him she appeared. I saw her rise from the planks, water dripping in streams. Her arms wrapped around him before I could react. Eric screamed, his phone dropping to the ground. The camera caught everything. Her face pressed into his shoulder. His body convulsed once, then went limp. She pulled him back, step by step, until both of them slipped through the railing like the wood wasn't even there. No splash, no sound, just absence. I stood alone on the bridge, frozen, until the phone at my feet buzzed. A new video had saved itself. The last thing Eric saw. Her pale face filling the screen, whispering the word again. "You." I grabbed the phone and ran. That was 3 nights ago. I haven't slept since. Every time I close my eyes, I hear the river. I see her face. My gallery keeps filling with videos I never record. In each one, she's closer. Sometimes she's behind me. Sometimes standing in the corner of the room. I know it's coming. When the final recording plays, I'll be gone too. And whoever finds this phone, the same thing will happen to you.